Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Popcorn Culture. I'm Kai.
I'm Zad.
And today we have a very special episode because we're going to be talking about franchises.
Well, we've already talked about movies, we've talked about comic books, we've talked about
TV
shows.
We've talked about comic books-ish. There's still lots to talk about.
Yeah, there's plenty to talk about.
But we want to go back and forth with what we talk about.
Yep.
And Zad, why are we talking about franchises? What's the importance of franchises in today's cinema landscape?
Well, for those who don't know, franchises back in the day when for movies it was just sequels, trilogies, anthologies, but in today's film industry, franchises have evolved into something much bigger.
It's the lifeblood of the industry at the moment. Just taking a look at the top 10 films of 2019, I believe 7 of them are franchises. They're either sequels or reboots or remakes. And the crazy part is that a lot of them belong to the same studio, which is Disney.
And I'd like to talk about that before the year is out.
We love Disney. Give us some of that cash. So we're going to be talking about franchises today, and I think we can't not talk about it just because it's such an important part of our movie-going experience today.
Yep.
I just to share with you, we are very close to the rise of Skywalker. And it's one of the biggest franchises in history, Star Wars, and we'll be talking about that as well.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that as well. We'll be talking about it as well. So, franchises are huge. Now, what classifies as a franchise for you?
Well, for me, franchises, like I said, it's not just sequels, trilogies, but it also involves any movie that's connected to the same universe or any movies that led to spin-offs.
Yeah.
So when you talk about interconnected universes, the most obvious example is the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The MCU is the most successful franchise.
Yeah. And when you talk about spin-offs, you can think about the Conjuring universe.
Yes.
When after the Conjuring movies, it spun off.
You had the Annabelle ones, you had the Nun,
so that
Curse
also,
of La Llorona.
Yeah, that also counts as part of a franchise.
And I think franchises are not new. While we are going through the golden era of franchises right now in Hollywood, franchises have been around forever. Some of the earliest franchises include the Universal Monsters franchise.
Yes.
That was in the late 30s, early 40s.
Monster from the...
A Creature from the Black Lagoon,
Black Lagoon,
the Wolfman,
Invisible Man,
Frankenstein.
And
then you had more acclaimed franchises / trilogies, such as the Godfather trilogy, the Man with No Name trilogy, and then you had the kind of...
Dirty Harry
trilogy, which is Clint Eastwood again.
Yeah.
So you've had this, this has been a Hollywood staple.
Yeah.
It's because financially, audiences know what they're about to watch. It's a safe bet, and most of the time, it's building on something that's already existed before.
We haven't even mentioned the 007 James Bond franchise.
The 007 is a huge one.
Lasted for decades.
It's 25 films in.
Yeah.
And I think it's the biggest franchise there is.
It's the longest surviving franchise there is, I think.
Yes, you're right on that one too. So we can't not talk about franchises.
Yeah.
And so today we'll be talking about our top 5.
Yes.
The 3 franchises we hate the most, and an honorable mention.
Yeah. Because trust me, there are a lot of franchises that I don't like.
There's more that I hate
than I do. Exactly. There are more franchises that I hate than I do than the ones that I do actually enjoy.
Yeah, I would have to agree with him on that. What's the mechanism today? What are we doing? How are we talking about it?
So for today's
just a heads up, we don't know our top 5.
That's true. I don't know his top 5. Yeah. I don't know his worst 3.
Some people can.
Well, so for today's mechanism, we decided to use totems. In a sort of way.
I don't have the totems just because I'm a lazy git.
So
but I do have pieces of paper again.
Kai has pieces of paper
where I've drawn something from the franchise.
Yeah, it's like a symbol or some sort that's connected or related to the franchise in some way. So I have to guess. To guess what the franchise is. But for me, though, I'm going to be handing him a bunch of objects, memorabilias.
It's always like he always likes to show off.
And he has to guess what the franchise is. Some are more obvious, some are more on the dot, some are a bit more difficult to guess. So, but I'm giving you the chance to see if you know them.
It's going to be Fight Club all the way.
You and your Fight Club.
No, you and your Fight Club.
No, you and your anti-Fight Club.
You and your Fight Club. Anyway, so before, without further ado.
Well, last time you went first with the top 10. So
I did.
Think it's only fair that I go first. So I have a bag here.
All right.
With a bunch of stuff in it.
I like when somebody opens themselves up first.
Anything for you, Kai?
I can't keep, but I'm gonna look away.
All right, so number 5 from my top 5 franchise list. He has to guess what this is.
What is that? What is that? It's like soft and squishy.
You can have a look.
Oh!
Any guesses?
Wait. The Land Before Time.
No. No, it's clear. That's good though. It's a dinosaur.
Jurassic World.
No. I think you would have had a better
somebody's
guess.
very defensive about
you would have had a better
World.
guess if you said Jurassic Park over Jurassic World.
It's the same franchise.
Oh, but but no.
Except Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you a guess. It's a toy. It's a toy. That's the guess.
Toy Story.
Yes, Toy Story. Thank you very much.
Oh.
So, number 5 on my list.
I forgot about
the Toy Story franchise. Why?
I forgot about Toy Story when I
Did you not think about Toy Story in your top 5 franchises?
I don't have it on my list.
The man has no soul.
Okay, Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Yeah.
So, growing up, I will start with my stories of growing up.
Yeah, there I was.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
So with the Toy Story franchise,
Toy Story,
as a kid, Toy Story was one of the first. At the time, it wasn't a franchise; it was just sequels of movies that came out that I loved so much.
Yeah,
I mean, the first Toy Story film, amazing.
Yeah.
Second Toy Story film,
it's
doubly amazing.
I mean, it's like it's almost the perfect anthology.
Exactly, and the third. By the time the third Toy Story came out, I remember watching it in the cinema with one of my best friends, Afifi.
Did you cry?
We were like literally in tears. Like
I was
we were
20.
We were looking at each other and we were like just sobbing at the end.
Yeah, I was about 20 and I watched it in I think it was the mall. I couldn't stop crying, man, at that ending. I was a mess. And then, you thought that was it for the longest time.
Yeah, and Toy Story was like the perfect ending to the trilogy.
Yeah.
And also then Toy Story 4 came out this year.
Which nobody wanted.
But it was the perfect epilogue.
Yeah. I can't believe I forgot the Toy Story.
It was a perfect, epilogue to, saying goodbye to Woody, Buzz, on all the rest of the Toy Story.
When Buzz says to Woody, he says, "She's gonna be okay." And I go like, "Oh man, don't leave Bo behind." And he says, "Bonnie is gonna be okay." I'm like, "Oh." I just started ugly crying. You getting goosebumps? Yeah. Toy Story.
Goosebumps.
Honestly, it's in a worthy place.
Yep.
To be at number 5.
At number 5.
I can't believe I forgot about Toy Story.
Well, let's see what is on your top 5 list then.
Oh, it's gonna be easy.
Number 5
It's an icon. It's a symbol. What is it?
It's a boxing.
Yeah.
Rocky.
Yeah, it's
Rocky franchise.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's a word inclusion.
Yeah, I watched bits and pieces of Rocky on Star Movies when I was a kid, and only in my early 20s did I get the films of a friend, and he said, trust me, you're gonna burn through them very easily.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those guys who doesn't think that there's a weak entry anywhere in the franchise.
Rocky 5.
No, it's good.
Okay,
it's good.
If you've watched it from Rocky 1 to 5, not knowing that Rocky Balboa came out a decade and a half later,
then you would have hated it.
Yeah, because it was just that one movie that ruined it.
Yeah, it would have been a terrible ending.
Yeah.
But I watched it when Balboa already existed.
Oh,
and Creed was coming up.
Oh,
so Creed, it's such a good...
Which is also part of the franchise.
Yeah, I counted. I just say it's Rocky 8.
Yeah.
It's maybe Creed 2, but it's Rocky 8.
Yeah.
For me, there's no weak one. And it's one of those films where when I started watching Rocky at home, I burned through the entire 6 films in the same day.
Wow.
I didn't give it any rest. It was Hari Raya. I just went through it.
You had no better plans?
No. My parents were like, we're going to go visit this person. Nah! Rocky! Yeah, no. And when by number 6, I gave it an hour break. And just so I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I watch him old and he's visiting Adrian's grave. Man, it broke my heart.
Adrian.
Yeah. So Rocky is number 5 for me.
It's a good number 5.
You think it's a good number 5?
It's a great number 5.
Well, we've not argued yet.
No. Okay, for the audience at home who don't know, I believe that a lot of the top 5s in both Kai and my list are going to overlap in some.
Yeah, with franchises, I think so.
Yeah. Number 4.
Okay.
Number 4. Oh, number 4. Okay, this is going to be an easy one.
Okay. What? Oh man, at number 4, you could find 3 better things than this.
Yes, obviously.
What?
Irregardless of where it stands on my top 5 list, yes, Star Wars.
No.
Star Wars
No,
franchise.
you take this back. Take this back. Take this back. Take this back.
Let's leave it on the table. I think it,
Dude,
it looks...
are you saying you could find better things than Star Wars in the
Yeah,
history of cinema?
Yes. I mean, like, again, with Star Wars, it's like a huge saga. I mean,
It's
like,
huge.
episode 9 is coming out in, very, very soon. And, but it has its ups and downs. It's not a perfect franchise. Like, the original trilogy.
What is the up and down for you? What is the down? Let's hear the down.
There's always that one movie from each trilogy.
Which is?
Like with the original trilogy, it was Return of the Jedi.
No.
I mean, it wasn't. It went from
you
a
shut
New
your
Hope.
whore mouth.
It went from A New Hope to Empire.
Yeah.
And just slightly dipped.
How slightly? Like 1% maybe.
Slightly dipped.
No.
We'll talk about it more when we do a Star Wars episode.
Okay, what's wrong with the prequels?
With the prequel, dude, Attack of the Clones.
You don't like Hayden Christensen?
I mean, really?
Dude, the guy is like pouring his heart out to Padme. He just goes like, haunted by the kiss you shouldn't have given me.
Sand.
No, my very soul, tormenting me.
With Attack,
You don't like that?
With Attack of... No, definitely not. And I'm pretty sure you don't either.
I actually love Attack of the Clones.
I mean, Attack of the Clones has its high points,
Across the Stars by John Williams?
Yes, it has an amazing score.
It does.
And Yoda was amazing.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was consistently great
He
in
was.
all the prequels.
Ewan McGregor, man, is amazing.
And, the less I say about
The Last
Jedi for the sequel trilogy, the better for the audiences at home. But we're moving on. Number 4, Star Wars for me.
Okay. We'll talk more about this in the Star Wars episode.
Yes, we will.
We will do a Star Wars episode.
So,
My turn, number 4.
number 4 for Kai. And
What did I write?
is that a banana?
That's yeah.
A banana.
Yeah. It's a banana.
It's yellow. Oh, I know this one.
What is it?
I know this one. Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes. I knew this one because I remember you talk about it. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, no, Planet of the Apes is it's amazing. It's an amazing franchise.
Yeah.
It started with 1968's Planet of the Apes, which is with Charlton Heston.
Yeah.
And I believe it was based on a French novel. And then
I did not know that.
yeah, it's based on a French novel. And it's followed by Beneath the Planet of the Apes,
Yeah.
followed by Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Conquest
Yeah.
of the Planet of the Apes, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Then you had the Tim Burton Abomination, which is Planet of the Apes.
Mark Wahlberg's vehicle.
And then you had
that's
the
bad.
3 masterpieces back to back.
Oh, dude.
Rise, Dawn, and War of the Planet of the Apes. It's honestly, it's one of those franchises that so many different writers and directors have contributed to over the years.
Yeah.
That doesn't have one head honcho like Kevin Feige or Kathy Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yet, you could watch all these movies and still see the symmetry.
If we did a top 10 franchise,
This would be it?
This would be my number 7.
No way.
But
yeah.
I have only seen the Charlton Heston first one
Okay.
and the 3 later ones.
You've not seen the 4.
I have not seen the
Oh.
first the 4
The first generation.
after. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not seen it.
So, I love Planet of the Apes so much. I got the making of the franchise book. And it's a beautiful book. And it's written by a bunch of dudes called Joe and Anthony Russo. But it's not those Joe and Anthony Russos.
What?
Yeah, it's not them.
There's another Joe and Anthony Russo somewhere else in the universe?
No, it's another Joe Russo. It's not Anthony. There's not Anthony there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a different bunch of guys. But Planet of the Apes is my favorite. And the crazy part is that, they had 1 to 5 in the original saga.
Yeah.
Had hints to,
Throughout yeah.
what is now, the trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, there were hints. Because in part 3, Ricardo Montalban, who's known to play Khan Noonien Singh in the original Star Trek series, asks Cornelia, who had escaped from Planet of the Apes in part 3, goes, when did apes rise? And he said, it was when one of our own looked to a human and said no. And that was Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Rise of the Planet of the
Yeah,
Apes.
so
about
it's
that
just
scene when Caesar first spoke.
yeah, and he said one ape stood above us and said no. I was like, oh, and then when you watch, the trilogy,
Yeah.
you go, it's such a cyclical story.
Yeah.
I loved it. I absolutely
No,
loved it.
I remember when we watched War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. 2017.
2017 together. I rated it as my best film of the year.
Yeah.
It was a perfect ending to the trilogy.
Yeah, and the crazy part is that guy's about to make a Batman movie, man. How good is that going to be?
Yeah.
Matt Reeves. Love the guy.
And Andy Serkis.
Should have won an Oscar.
He should have won an Oscar.
Shame on you, Academy. All right. Shall we catch up on our bottom two in the top five?
Yes, so far.
Alright, so that's where we are with our bottom two. We are now doing number three for Izzat.
From mine.
Okay, I will close my eyes and hope it's not soap that has Fight Club written on it.
What's mine? Number 3. Okay. This is gonna take a bit of a guess for you.
Okay.
On your part.
What is this?
It's a Blu-ray.
It's a Blu-ray of Dazed and Confused.
It's a Blu-ray of
Richard Linklater.
Yes.
Before Trilogy.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
I knew Kai would have gotten it the first time.
I forgot about that.
Also, this is a Blu-ray of Dazed and Confused, directed and written by Richard Linklater.
I forgot about the Before Trilogy.
And what we're talking about is the Before Trilogy.
I forgot about that.
Which stars Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, and it's a movie that spanned almost 20 years.
It's a trilogy that spanned 20 years. I can't believe I forgot about that.
It's such a good trilogy. And it's so underrated. Not a lot of people know this.
It's one of the most finely written and acted trilogies I've ever seen. Because the story is that in the first one, Before Sunrise, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy meet on a train on the way to Vienna, Austria.
Yeah.
And they kind of get out and spend a whole day together and have some of the most beautiful dialogue in the history of film.
It's amazing. I don't know. And some of them was just improv.
A lot of it was improv.
They were just talking from their souls.
Yeah. And it was
kind of sappy, but
so...
it's true.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And before the end of the film, spoiler alert, it's been out for 25 years. Before the end of the film, they made a promise that they will see each other again.
Yeah.
And then people thought, oh, they're going to have their own version in their heads, right?
Yeah.
9 years later...
By the way, the first movie came out in 1995.
Yeah.
So the sequel came out 9 years later in 2004 called Before Sunset.
Yeah.
Where both of them now in their early 30s.
Have now aged 9 more years.
They both have their respective lives,
and
their
it's
careers.
So sad and depressing.
But dude, Before Sunset is one of my favorite films of all time. If it wasn't part of a trilogy, it would have been in my top 5 best films of all time.
Yeah, I can't, man. It's so depressing. Like, you see them, how sad they are.
Yeah.
Like, the rawness of the first one's gone by then. It's just, and it's real life, right? Yeah. You reconnect with somebody you spend a great day with in 9 years.
Yeah.
It's gonna be depressing. And, and the ending for Before Sunset was...
dude, it was a beautiful ending.
Ethan Hawke's character looked like he was gonna miss his flight.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to spend the day with Julie Delpy. And then, boom, 9 years later, we get Before Midnight, and they're the middle-aged couple who keep fighting.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
And it's beautiful that it's set in 3 different cities across Europe. It's from Vienna,
Austria
to Paris in France. And
and
to somewhere in Greece.
I can't remember where.
Yeah, neither can I. But it's just beautiful.
Such a beautiful film. If you guys have not seen it, Before Sunrise, Sunset, and Midnight. It's a beautiful.
I really hope there's another trilogy coming out.
The final chapter.
Yeah.
The only thing they should call it is Before Eternity.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah, like it's the perfect one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see it. I hate myself for forgetting Toy Story in this one, but okay.
We're going to your number 3.
My number 3,
and it says 88 miles. This is 88 miles an hour. Back to the Future. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Where we're going, we don't need roads. Oh, so good.
It's a great franchise. It's a good trilogy, sorry. It's a good trilogy.
It's close to being the perfect trilogy.
Yep.
Right? As a kid, seeing Back to the Future Part 2 meld 1955 with 2015 with alternate 1985 and throw Marty McFly into 1885 blew my mind. The whole alternate reality thing absolutely just... I was in the words of John Malkovich from John English, gobsmacked. I was gobsmacked, Mr. English. It was amazing, man. Like, as a kid, you watch this, you go, is this even science? Like, is this real?
No. And
Back to the Future, I think, is a perfect time travel story.
No, it is.
Sorry, Endgame.
There's... I mean, that's true, though. There's so many time-traveling movies that Terminator. The less we talk about Terminator, the better.
Oh, my God. I hated Dark Fate.
Well, I like one thing they did in Dark Fate. But going back to the Future, it's a perfect time traveling trilogy.
It is, and it's the perfect story.
It is. It does
exactly where he wants to end up. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd.
The chemistry. Oh, Doc, it's heavy, Doc. Why is everything in the future so heavy? Is there something wrong with Earth's gravitational field? Yeah,
it's a worthy number 3.
It is. Thank you.
It's a worthy number 3.
I think we're down to your number 2.
Yep.
Okay, I will close my eyes again.
Number 2. All right. Number 2.
Is this?
Okay, this is obvious because I'm giving him a Blu-ray box set.
Oh, it's a box set.
Yes.
What is that? Oh, the complete Dark Knight trilogy. Okay, check my number 2.
Why? You're just gonna skip right past my number 2? Oh, okay. Dark Knight trilogy, dude.
Well done.
Christopher Nolan.
This belongs on everybody's top franchise ever.
It's the perfect trilogy.
It is the perfect trilogy.
Yeah.
That's why Back to the Future was a bit short.
Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, it's beautiful. This is the Australian release.
Sorry?
This is the Australian release, right?
I think so. Yeah, it
it's
is.
the Australian release.
So,
JB
okay.
Hi-Fi?
Yep.
There you go, JB Hi-Fi.
Hi-Fi.
I saw this on eBay once. I was gonna get it because I like the panorama look.
Dude, you want to borrow it?
I have it, man. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Things I'm some kind of chump. I got 2 versions of this. I got the one with the Batmobiles too.
I have the Dark Knight Rises with the
Bane mask.
No, not the Bane mask. The cowl.
Oh, the broken cowl.
The broken cowl.
Nice.
Never opened.
Sure.
And I have all 3 in steelbooks.
Nice.
Respectively, just to prove to Kai that
These
I'm
are
a
just
bigger.
material possessions.
But the Dark Knight trilogy by Chris Nolan, it's the perfect superhero trilogy.
It is. I'm gonna say it on camera. Batman Begins gave birth to the MCU. Challenge me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, please elaborate. I'd like to hear more.
Nobody did an origin story better than Christopher Nolan. 3 years later, Iron Man comes out, and when they're doing the press, John Favreau says, "I'd be lying if I said," or something. So I'm completely paraphrasing.
Yeah.
There's articles on this. He says, "Batman Begins was very important to me." He said. So Batman Begins started the MCU.
I can't argue with that.
No, because it really you watch Iron Man.
It is the perfect. It is
because the
perfect.
only other origin before that was Spider-Man by Tobey Maguire. It was kind of hokey.
Yeah.
It was a bit hokey. X-Men 1 wasn't an origin, so we can't count that.
No.
So Spider-Man 1 was a good movie, but it's a bit hokey.
Yeah.
Batman Begins, man, was a different caliber.
Yeah.
This film was amazing.
It was amazing. It was. No one could have imagined a superhero so gritty and grounded in this way.
And so heartfelt.
And so many films have tried to follow that formula and have failed.
I watched Batman Begins at the mall, June 14, 2005, with my best friend Jim. And that was the first time I realized what I wanted out of my life. I wanted to orbit film. I said, this is what I want. I want to be part of a movement that's this important.
I'm so happy that you had a fond memory of it. I remember watching Batman Begins in the cinema and a kid was kicking behind.
You should have kicked the kid.
The whole way.
Should have kicked the kid.
But you're talking about how influential the trilogy was as an origin, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was the ending. At the time, the only other trilogies that I can think of were
Lord of the Rings.
Superhero trilogies.
Spider-Man.
Were Spider-Man by Sam Raimi and X-Men.
X-Men had already gone to a few though at that point. They had already had First Class at least.
First Class came out in 2011.
Dark Knight Rises came out 2012.
True, but we were talking about the first
the
three.
original.
The original.
Yeah.
Brett Ratner tanked. The
Last Stand?
The Last Stand.
That was my favorite one.
And
that was, I'm not even trolling, that was my favorite one. At least they had fights. No story, but at least somebody fought.
Okay, we could probably do another episode on this. We have a catalog of lists
stuff
of
to talk about. Yeah.
But and Spider-Man 3, I'm not saying it was a bad film, but
no, it wasn't an ending.
It wasn't an ending. There were still hopes that a sequel would have come out.
And it was gonna John Malkovich as Vulture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that never came to fruition, and they rebooted it with Andrew Garfield. And the less we talk about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, the better.
Gwen. Is it Kevin Stacy? It's a lizard.
But The Dark Knight Rises had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Conclusive.
Exactly. It was complete.
And after everything that happened with the DC Extended Universe, those reports of Christopher Nolan being offered a blank check and Christian Bale being offered a blank check to come back as Batman and the director, and them turning it down really makes the trilogy even more meaningful.
Exactly.
Because it existed in a time that the DC Extended Universe hadn't been born yet.
It existed at a time when franchises were like the huge deal in cinema.
It was, and the crazy thing about Batman Begins was, and this is my journey with the Dark Knight trilogy, and I've always wanted to say this. I watched Batman Begins on 14th of June. I was so moved by this film. This was 2005. I went across the street from the mall to Bluestone, which is a comic book store.
Oh, I miss Bluestone.
And I bought some comic books. No, sorry, I couldn't afford comic books at that point.
Okay.
5 days later, my brother is going to the mall to watch Batman Begins, and I said, "Can you please pick me up a Batman comic book?" right?
Yeah.
Which led to a lifelong obsession, right? 1 month after The Dark Knight Rises comes out, I paid the final deposit for my first ever unit for Fanboys.
Really?
Yeah. 1 month after Dark Knight Rises, I paid a final deposit, and 2 weeks later, I opened my store. So my journey from comic book fan to comic book store owner is the Dark Knight trilogy.
It's so influential in so many ways.
Yeah, it's an amazing. It's a good second place.
Yeah.
It's a good
It's a
second
good second
place.
place for you too.
Yeah, it's a good second place.
So that was our number 2.
So what the is your number 1?
Oh.
Shall we do a recap? Because I think the audience needs to keep track. Alright, so we're just going to recap real quickly right now. Alright, so that was our bottom 4 for now.
Bottom 4, 5 to 2.
We're down to number 1. So you've not had Star Wars on it. You've not had the Dark Knight trilogy.
You weren't expecting Toy Story or
I was
or
not,
trilogy.
man. Like, what? I'm
well,
super curious what your number 1 is.
I think it's kind of obvious.
Okay.
when I take
do you
out-
want me to close my eyes?
Oh please! I
Okay.
think I'm just gonna take it out and just gonna
Okay.
show it to you.
Or just put it on my hand. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Adrian. Hey man, my number 5 is your number 1.
Yeah.
Does that mean my number 1 is your number 5?
Actually, I can actually guess what your number 1 is. It's kind of obvious.
What do you think it is?
Remember
Yeah, no. Okay. It's my number 1.
right? Star Wars.
Okay. Why Rocky?
You drew a star and a gun
And the sword.
and a sword.
I covered everything. Why Rocky? Why
Dude,
not
this is
in the
well for
in
me.
this huge arena of franchises? Why Rocky?
We spoke about how with Star Wars. I'm not trying to diss Star Wars, but it has its ups and downs.
Yeah,
But with the Rocky franchise,
it's very little downs.
the only one movie that I can think of that was a letdown in some ways was Rocky 5.
And even that is not.
And even then, it was
It's
still
still bagus ba?
yeah, it was. And for me, like growing up, like looking at this guy who is an underdog in so many ways.
It's the underdog saga of a lifetime.
Exactly. And I was a scrawny little kid looking at this guy overcoming so many obstacles and
Buff
so
already.
many
It's buff already.
and so many challenges. Like he just the Rocky character, and still Sylvester Stallone. He embodied
Oh man,
Rocky Balboa.
the story behind him writing the saga, selling his dog.
He was cash broke.
Yeah, and
he was
he was homeless, I think, or struggling.
yeah.
And then
in some
he
ways.
He
He wrote.
no studio would want to fund it
Yeah, no.
because he wanted to be the lead, and they're like, yeah, you're not a lead character, and he won Best Picture.
And today we're still talking about the Rocky franchise.
Yeah, and it's an amazing franchise.
And who would have thought that the Creed franchise, the 2 movies that came out, spun out of Rocky. Like
Yeah.
no one would have thought that we were going to see another continuation of the
Yeah.
of the Rocky universe.
and Creed 2, you've seen it, right?
Oh, dude, Creed
It's
2.
such a good ending.
One of my top 5 films of last year.
No, but yeah, I see it.
No, it was for me.
I mean, Star is Spawn. But yeah, man, Creed 2 was such a good ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta give it to you. Rocky, yeah,
Yeah,
I see
Rocky.
it.
So, Star Wars, do I even need to ask?
Why would you? Look, never in the history of anything has a man created something for it to have been, embraced on a global scale, like it's a frenzy.
Okay.
For that story to be started in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
have its beginnings made 20 years later, be reviled by fans, for him to walk away from this franchise and sell it to the world's biggest conglomerate / corporation in the world, for fans to hear they're continuing that same story. Like, there's not been an instance in history where this has happened. And Star Wars is it. He writes 4, 5, and 6 and he goes, I'll probably come back to it in a couple of years. And then 20 years later, he writes and directs, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones,
and
Revenge of the Sith. Again, I like all 3. And then you thought that was it, you're done. But no, man.
I don't understand why you like all 3.
They're made for kids.
Okay, it speaks to the kid in you.
Yeah, and then 10 years after that, 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, we were in the cinema.
watching Force Awakens.
And seeing Luke Skywalker, having not seen him on screen in 33 years. There's not been an instance in the history of anything where this has happened before. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it does have its, it's a phenomenon. It's a cultural phenomenon.
The story itself.
Yeah.
The story itself is worthy of like academic papers. It's a beautiful story.
I wouldn't say that.
You don't think so? I mean,
even if you
the
look
frenzy around the Force Awakens, the controversy around the Last Jedi,
okay,
and the tragic passing of Carrie Fisher before they were able to complete the Rise. You don't think crazy?
I was mostly referring to the original trilogy. How?
Oh no,
it wasn't. It didn't have like a through line of.
No, it didn't. Like there was no through line, but the idea. Okay, look at it this way. In the last 3 years, we have sadly lost Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
We have seen Luke Skywalker die in front of our very eyes in The Last Jedi.
And Han Solo.
We've seen a solo origin film, right? Okay? Yeah. But that wasn't like the biggest things that happened. Because we have seen Ewan McGregor come back as Obi-Wan as well.
In the TV series.
And then they're literally using unused footage of Carrie Fisher, the late Carrie Fisher for, like, it's just, this franchise is historic, man. Like, okay, we're doing another episode on this. I love Star Wars. I love forever.
Well, I think everyone knows.
Yeah.
It's universally known.
Yeah. There's a picture of me with Mark Hamill and Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, I'm looking at you right now.
Yeah, so I love Star Wars. Number one. Hey, good choice, man.
Good choice.
Good
top 5.
Yeah.
We had 3? No, 2.
2 overlaps.
Which
was Rocky and the Dark Knight trilogy.
And Star Wars.
3 overlaps. That's pretty good. Alright guys, we've done our top 5, our other 5 honorable mention franchises that we hate, and the ones that we could save. We don't want to hear from you. In the comment section, tell us what you guys are thinking. What is your favorite franchise? Why? What's the sentiment behind it?
And I also want to throw in a question there for you, for the audience at home. Like, if there was a franchise that had one bad apple compared to like amazing string of films, does it make it a bad franchise?
Yeah.
And the other way around, if there was one good film
out of 10 crappy ones,
out of 10 really really bad ones, does it save
the franchise?
Yeah. So please let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know in your thoughts.
What do you think?
And that means we are going to be announcing our next theme for the next episode, and it's going to be Star Wars.
We're gonna dedicate a whole episode just for Star Wars,
just because
in preparation for
the Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker coming out.
Yeah. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode of
Popcorn Culture.